What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got an interesting knife to talk about with you guys today. This is the Nemesis Knives MPR 2, MPR standing for Mar Private Reserve, and that's as in Almar. Now, I'm familiar with Almar as far as the name, and that he's an important figure in the knife world, and up to this point, that was honestly as much as I knew about him. So after I had a chance to play with this knife for a little bit, I did a quick Wikipedia search and kind of read up on him. Now, I urge you to go do the same because there's a lot of information on him, and his impact on the knife world is very large. But I'm just going to kind of skim over some things. He served in the military. He was a very important figure there. And then he actually became, eventually, you know, as far as the initial impact on the knife world, he became the head designer or head of design for Gerber Legendary Knives in 1968. Now, I know Gerber's reputation right now isn't so hot, but back then they were very reputable for making excellent knives. And he remained with them from 68 to 79, I believe is what it said. You guys who know more about this than me can correct me in the comments section. And in 1979, he started his own knife company. And then he unfortunately passed away in 1992. But like I said, the impact he has left on the knife world is massive, so I urge you to go read up on him. This line of knives from Nemesis Knives, who is a company based in China, essentially they revived, apparently, some old drawings and designs of knives that never came to fruition. So they are allowing these, Nemesis Knives is allowing these designs to come to fruition through their own production company. And that's interesting to me. So this and the MPR 3 that I unboxed the other day will both be shown on this channel. Really kind of neat there. Some neat history, and it's kind of interesting to have a design, I don't know if brought back from the grave is the right thing to say, but so to speak. Let's do an overall measurement of this guy. We're looking at about 8 inches overall. Yeah, about 8 inches overall. From the tip of the blade to the scale, you're looking at 3.5 inches. From tip of the blade to the end of the cutting edge, you're looking at 3.25. So very basic, straightforward design there. Fans of the Benchmade Griptilian or size, Benchmade Griptilian size knives are going to be very happy with that. Up against the Ontario Rat 1. Rat 1 coming in at 8.6 inches overall. Up against the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. PM2 coming in at 8.3 inches overall. How about up against the Rickhinder XM18? Rickhinder XM18 coming in at 8.25 inches overall, so we're getting closer there. Up against the Ritter Hogue, or in this case, or I'm sorry, I generally say Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, Ritter Hogue, 8 inches overall. So you can see there, same size, roughly, as the Ritter Hogue or Benchmade Griptilian. And last but not least, we have the Spyderco Delica coming in at 7 inches overall. Let's go ahead and weigh it here. This knife does run on bearings. I'll give you an example of the action. It's not quite a free dropper, but it is absolutely smooth and has a good action for what you pay for it. We'll get into that here in just a moment. Let me bring my scale in. Make sure we're zeroed out there. Overall weight on this guy, we're looking at 5.15 ounces. It does have full steel liners. That's likely the cause of the over 5 ounce weight. 5.15 ounces. I know to some people that's going to be a deal breaker. For me, you know, you've heard me say this a million times, I actually enjoy solidity and heft, reasonable heft in a folding knife, so that doesn't bother me at all. We are looking at 3.5 inches of satin finished VG10 in a drop point, very classic drop point style blade. We have carbon fiber bolsters with a polished finish, seamlessly meeting up with a G10 peel ply textured scale that is OD green. Now, this knife actually comes in two forms. It comes in the form that you're seeing here, and then it comes in a Tanto version with a black G10 scale. Some of you might be wondering, can I get the black G10 scale on the drop point version? Apparently not. And vice versa. You can't get the OD green on the Tanto. That's just the way that they did it. The blades that are available are Tanto satin or drop point satin. There is no coated version of the blade. So that's the way that is. The hardware on this guy is nice and flat. Meets up pretty flush with the carbon fiber around it. Looks nice. You can see their fit and finish on this guy is good. All the lines and everything are meeting up just fine. Nothing really to complain about there. You have a little lanyard hole back there that's going to be a little bit tight for 550, but you can make it work. You can see it's an open body pillar construction with a slight amount of milling on the scales there. Not a whole lot. The liners are pretty thick and they come all the way out to the outside of the knife. On the other side, it mirrors much of the front, but you've got the pocket clip. It is a nice, simple, kind of stamped out deep carry clip that's got a slight amount of curvature. They did go ahead and recess those screws so you don't have to worry about them catching on your pants. And I will say it does carry nice. This is a flipper liner lock design that is running on bearings. So you can see there the liner engages at, I don't know, about 30%. The knife did come to me nice and centered. No rub there, so that's fine. It does lock out perfectly. No blade play up, down, left, or right. There's one means of deployment, and that's the flipper tab. And, you know, once you've got it down, the jimping is in the right position, so it does flip readily. I will say this, it's got a pretty light detent. So, you know, if you don't flip it all the way, if you do the push button method where you build up some kinetic energy, it's going to be fine. If you rely on a light switch, that's what's going to happen. Do that again for you. You're not going to get it to flip all the way. The action is smooth. There's a little tiny bit of friction in there, but not a lot. It's not a grindy friction. It's just more than, you know, what I feel from some of its competitors, I guess, in this price range. The D10 is definitely lighter than the Bestech Lion. I have my Bestech Lion loaned out at the moment, so I don't have it. I wish I had kept it for a comparison because it really would have been good here. But the Bestech Lion, I would say, has a little bit less friction and a little bit heavier detent, allowing it to flip more readily. You do have some jimping up here, which is in my opinion, exactly the right place. This knife feels very good in hand. It's very comfortable in terms of just the ergonomic positions for your fingers. I do appreciate that it doesn't specifically force your hands into any one position. There is not a forward choil. It's all blade. Some people really like that. It's very comfortable. So that's great. This knife runs currently anywhere from $70 to about $85. I saw it listed on Blade HQ as on sale at 85 bucks. Looked around on eBay and Amazon. I can find it as low as $70. Blade steel on this guy being VG10, I would say for $85, no. $70, it's okay. You know, it's honestly, it's okay for 75 bucks for what you're getting. You're getting a combination of carbon fiber and G10. The fit and finish, honestly, is good. It's very solid. The design itself is reliable. This is a reliable pocket knife. So if you like how this looks and you're wondering, like, hey, is it built well? Yeah, it's absolutely built well. No problem. The downsides are, like I said, the detent is just a little bit weak, but you can get it to work. Push buttoning, it's going to work. It's really just going to be the light switch method that's going to cause an issue there. But once you have it in hand and you've played with it for a little bit, it's not going to be a problem. The action is good enough. I mean, it's still acceptable for the price range that it's in. Again, if you're buying this knife for $70, you know, some of you will like the Tanto. That really wouldn't be my cup of tea. It would be the drop point. It does feel like it's pretty thin behind the edge. In fact, it feels really thin behind the edge. And it feels like the edge was done really, really well. So I think this knife's going to be a great slicer. It also appears to be pretty thin on the blade stock. Comparing it with the Ritter Hogue, yeah, it looks to be maybe 125 thousandths, 115 thousandths. In fact, I think the official thickness of the blade is 115 thousandths there. The only other issue I have with this knife is just that some of the corners are a little tiny bit sharp, and on the inside here, this is just a little bit sharp. Not terrible, you know, it's just a little bit pointy on some of these corners. But as far as, like, you know, if this was the only thing I had to do repeated cuts like over and over and over again over time, I don't think I would have that much of an issue with it. So the detent's a little light. It's a little bit sharp and pointy in some places, but it's not bad. You know, in terms of like the steel for the money, it's okay. Truthfully, my biggest issue with this knife is it's just kind of boring. This, to me, like, for what's available out there right now, you know, like, there's a bajillion liner locks and a bajillion frame locks that are on bearings. So, you know, really the only special thing that I'm seeing here that's just a little bit unique for this knife is the carbon fiber bolster. That's cool. I really think they should have offered the drop point in black G10 and the Tanto in OD green. I think they almost should have been like 2 different models, and you could get either color or tan included. Usually when they do OD green and black, they do a tan also, the 3 generic starting colors. But this knife is just kind of boring. You know, there's so many of these out there, and there's so many of them out there offering, in my opinion, better steel, like D2. I'm going to use the Bestech Lion as an example again. That knife has contoured G10. It doesn't have carbon fiber, so it's missing out there, but it's got contoured G10. Ergonomically, it feels a little bit better. The corners are less sharp. The blade is about the same length. The action is a little bit better. The detent's a little bit better. Fit and finish is about the same, but it's $55. So on the low end, this knife is $15 more than a Bestech Lion, and Bestech offers a lot of different designs in that lower price range. So like I said, at 85 bucks, I don't know. I don't know. You know, you'd have to really, really like this design, but it's already kind of just a plain Jane knife design. It's very straightforward. Now, there's benefits to that. The reason that this, you see so many designs out there like this, to steal words from Nick Shabazz, which I do a lot, the reason you see designs like this plain Jane knife look is because this design works. It's kind of a proven design. You know, as far as the standard hammer grip position, thumb up here, reverse grip if you're doing something like that. It just works, you know. It doesn't feel foreign to your hands. Your hands kind of know exactly what to do with it right off the bat. So this is a good knife. You know, the design is good. The fit and finish is good. I imagine it'll stand up to the test of time just fine. Benefits to VG10. It's stainless. It's easy to sharpen. Those are 2 qualities that make a great user steel. The rest of the knife world has kind of dismissed VG10 from anything remotely close to premium. I think all of us prefer to see VG10 like under $70. So with this being $70 at the, you know, the lowest price that I can find it, it's right there on the line, and it's gonna, some people are gonna back away from it just because there are better things out there that can be had for $15 less or $10 less, or in some cases probably, you know, $40 less. You know, there are knives out there that are G10 and D2 on bearings for 25 bucks. You know, so it's hard for me to recommend a knife like this. If this were D2, it might be a little bit of a different story. You know, it'd be a little bit better in D2. But VG10, I don't know. You know, that really those issues, I wouldn't call them issues. It's just this would have been a much better knife like 3 or 4 years ago. Like 2 to 3 years ago, this would have been a much better knife. But, you know, as far as its competition goes right now, kind of hard to recommend this knife. It's not bad. If you like this design and you want to go ahead and purchase it, or you've already purchased it and you're watching my video for validation, I wouldn't say you made a bad choice. It's just, this isn't one that I personally would recommend over everything else that is out there or buy for myself. So anyways, that's all I can think of to say about this particular model. If you enjoyed this video or found it informative, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do of course have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so please check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and I hope you all have a great day.